We of the Illinois Department of Transportation are very proud to be a part of this cooperative endeavor. We will continue throughout the life of this project to make all the information obtained from the Archaeological Data Recovery Project accessible to the public and other interested agencies to the greatest extent possible.
These large earthen mounds, which rise above the Mississippi floodplains near East St. Louis, Illinois, stand as mute witnesses to a large urban settlement which existed in the surrounding area over 800 years ago. The largest, Monk's Mound, rises more than 100 feet and covers more than 16 acres. Originally, there were more than 100 mounds in the Cahokia Mound complex. This may have been the center of the largest prehistoric urban society on the North American continent outside Mexico. Remains of the Indian city have been found over an area of about 6 square miles. Scores of satellite communities and innumerable dwelling places of even earlier prehistoric people, going back as far as 8000 BC, are known to have existed in the surrounding floodplain, called the American Bottom by archaeologists. The Indians who built these mounds and the city vanished before the arrival of the first European explorers in the late 1600s. We know little about their lifestyle or culture, or what happened to cause them to disappear. Some explorations have been conducted in the vicinity of the Cahokia Mounds without answering these questions. Researchers now believe that the key to unraveling the mystery of the rise and fall of Cahokia may be found in the outlying sites, located throughout the American Bottom from Cahokia to the Mississippi River.
But by following up these first efforts with extensive site clearing, crews have discovered an unusual site that still is being developed.
Well, what we have here is a multi-component site. This upper level in here represents the most recent occupation. As you can see here, it's both historic and Mississippian, which dates to maybe 1300 AD. But even more important in this case is the fact that we have a lower buried Middle Woodland site. This is probably very early in the Middle Woodland sequence. This fill zone seems to represent almost an instantaneous event. In other words, this seems to be due to deposition by a flood. In effect, what's done is bury a whole occupation level across this entire site. What we're finding so far is ceramics that seem not to match with anything else that we found in the bottoms. They're the clue to the early date, again, which is about 200 AD. Not only that, but we seem right now to be able to isolate living areas within this broad site. In other words, finding haars surrounded by midden deposits. Preservation in this case seems to be very good.
2 remarkable stone figurines were found within about 20 feet of each other at a site dating to the Mississippian period, when the Cahokia metropolis was flourishing. Only the base of one figurine was recovered. It depicts a female kneeling before what may be a cane box or basket. This statue was found in a pit containing pottery fragments dating to about 1200 AD. The other statue was found sitting alone in a pit apparently dug only for its burial. This one is a much more sophisticated art piece. Like the other figure, this one is bauxite, a red stone found in Arkansas. The 7-inch female is kneeling with a mythical serpent coiled around her legs. The serpent's head appears to be a puma or panther. Its tail splits into 2 parts, each of which becomes a vine bearing bottle gourds. In her right hand, the woman holds a hoe, fashioned from a stone blade clearly lashed to a wooden handle with the point embedded in the serpent. The remarkable detail and finely crafted features of the figure make it a unique example of prehistoric American sculpture. Both figurines obviously contain important clues to the mythology of the culture that produced them. Both apparently had been killed or ceremonially broken before their burial. They almost certainly are examples of prehistoric art indigenous to the eastern United States. Their style and form suggest that, like the 24 other examples of such statuary recovered to date, they were sculpted by a small group of artists or, intriguingly, a single artist. Analysis and study of both figures are continuing. These exciting discoveries were an appropriate climax to the completion of 2 years of field work along I-270. Both were placed on display at the Illinois State Museum as part of the policy of the Illinois Department of Transportation to make the results of archaeological projects supported by public funds available to the public and to professionals. The discoveries also emphasize one of the most important results of the entire I-270 project.